Hello everyone, Well Karen here, and it seems as if the US has officially joined the fray and has started bombing the shit out of Iran with Israel. These strikes and the warfare that both the US and Israel are engaging in are illegal, like that means anything. The US has been beefing up its presence in the Gulf region within the last couple weeks, lining up aircraft carriers, destroyers, and warships, kind of tipping off its hand that there was going to be some sort of conflict boiling up in this area. Just super quick, we know what this is all about, right? This is not about supporting people through leadership change. This is not about liberating Iranians from their oppressive regime and giving them freedom, democracy, feminism, and the American dream. It's about changing the regime to one that doesn't nationalize its oil industry. So really in many contexts, but let's focus on Iran right now. Whenever people bring up the point of, well, Iranians are celebrating their country getting bombed. Sure, I bet some Iranians are excited about US intervention, but I think that it's safe to say that the average Iranian isn't a huge fan of the US and won't be a fan of whichever replacement the US plans to install that will likely be a complete and utter shit show and will not be representative of the Iranian people and the changes that they have been fighting for, especially considering that Western imperialist interest and alignment is what brought upon the Iranian Revolution in the first place. I think perhaps some Iranians want to go in a new direction instead of taking leaps backwards. The strike was named Operation Epic Fury, which is fucking crazy.
It's known as Operation Epic Fury, which I gotta say is just awesome. The operation names from the administration, top notch. Midnight Hammer was great last year. Operation Epic Fury, yeah, man. Epic Fury.
A lot of people think it's poorly named. I think the opposite. I think it is as cosmically accurate as it can be in a soberingly ironic way. Operation Epic Fury follows Israel striking Iran months back due to uranium procurement trends. Quick note, that is dumb. There is no reason to believe that Iran was actually building warheads, and if there was reason to believe that, Israel would absolutely share it with the world and wouldn't just unilaterally strike and say, trust me, bro. And on top of that, if they were building warheads, unilaterally striking Iran, a country of this size and military power, yeah, maybe that's not the best reaction in the world. Israel really thought that they could sell the US on WMDs as if they caught amnesia. Us Americans, we're dumb, but goddamn, we aren't that dumb. This is where I am honestly shocked, because when Israel did this, you know, months and months back, I was like, oh boy, here comes the wave of media telling us that Iran is up to some seriously horrible things. Here comes Iraq 2.0. Here comes all the pundits trying to convince us that this war and war in general is unavoidable and is actually a good thing. And then you jump to this conflict escalation where the US joins in and you analyze the space between and you think to yourself, man, somebody did not show up to work. It's actually crazy. The minuscule effort that went into gaining the public support for this, both right-wing and center. It just seems like all of a sudden, because things are so chaotic with the Epstein files, with all the other conflicts Trump is charging into at the drop of a hat, news outlets were just like, well, this war's gonna happen and it's good because, Iran bad. Fuck, dude, I don't know. But I guess I really shouldn't be surprised because, like, you know, you got your liberals. They're easy to convince. You know, you just say that Iran homophobic, Iran regime bad. And like, yeah, Iranian regime is bad and not good. And I don't dogmatically support it because they are geopolitically opposed to the US. But US imperialist war side by side with the pariah state of Israel is definitely the cure to the issues of this state. Yeah, installing a hand-picked US leader to run a regime, that's never gone sideways before. No, if you look at this happening, if you see the school of little girls getting bombed while learning to become adults, a concept that has been robbed from them, and you think, oh yeah, this is the best option, this is the only path to peace, you are actually so cooked, dude. Your brain is cooked into putty. Conservatives, the chuds, the hogs, such a foolish notion to think that they would ever be against this. Back in 2024, they were the no new war folks, and it was weird to me back then. Frog and the Scorpion. The Scorpion is gonna strike the frog trying to cross the river because it's in the Scorpion's nature. What, are we going to believe that the chuds weren't going to get excited like a 4-year-old seeing monster trucks at the announcement of the US getting involved in like 20 more wars by the year 2028? But either way, it is really interesting to see the comparisons. Like what they were officially with their full chest saying back then compared to what they're saying now. Look at this picture, posted by the GOP. I think that the strongest attribute in the presidential candidate is how well they just say nuh-uh. You know, how well they ignore glaring contradictions. Hey, speaking of Trump, how's that goofball doing?
Finally, we honor one more American soldier, a fallen warrior of wars, and really terror.
Excuse me? I'm no doctor, but that doesn't look too good. But my question is, how are the Zionists doing in all of this? Are they grasping onto any ounce of reality in any way, shape, or form?
Over-the-top plea for help from Benjamin Netanyahu is going viral. Tell us more.
Benita, it is racking up millions of views online on social media, mainly on TikTok and on Instagram, on these absurd videos that people are posting in random helpless situation. Maybe their car breaks down, they're failing a test, and they're just in the middle of the street grabbing their phone and saying, Netanyahu, help me. This all taking place in the United States. They're saying this in English. This isn't happening here in Israel. This is crossing the sea and really taking the American global media storm, social media by storm.
Netanyahu! Save me! Save me!
Praying for the leader of a genocidal state who is known for ruthlessly bombing civilians to bomb civilians so you can get out of situations like traffic. That's definitely wholesome and is a good look for whichever ethno-state is in question. And this was really all about self-defense, specifically self-defense of Iran, because Israel wanted Iran to have zero self-defense. You know, that's part of what a lot of the negotiations was about. Negotiating away their missiles so Israel can just bomb them for whatever reason that they can come up with that morning. But as taxpayers, watching Israel get the shit bombed out of them by Iran, it's really annoying. Oh, we aren't giving Israel money for bombing civilians. We're giving them money so they can prevent getting bombed as consequence for bombing civilians. And so they can allocate what they would spend on preventative measures towards bombing more civilians. They spend money on the Iron Dome so we can watch as it gets the new nickname, the Aluminum Dome. This is not doing its job. Yeah, like, of course it's not. They're fumbling like crazy. Israel is getting pounded right now. And also the US military is taking some hits. 5 service members injured, 3 have fallen.
Our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more.
The chaos of war, tit-for-tat blows, sending and returning strikes, average conflict. Although very high profile, the US has been at war with Iran. It has been at war for a while. Maybe it wasn't official, but in practice, that's the best way to describe it. A war. Let's say that the Demon Squad is successful in their operation to have US Western-sponsored regime change in Iran. Of course, Israel will set their sights on another country. So, who is next?
Is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran.
Turkey is the new Iran. Turkey's a NATO country. What are they gonna do about that pesky little Article 5? Is that why the US wants to leave NATO? Is that why was this somewhat predictable? Or maybe it's like, you know, maybe it's a perk? A lot of people are talking about World War III poking its head around the corner, and no, that's not gonna happen. Realistically, that is going to happen because of climate catastrophe. Give it like another 15, 20 years if nothing changes at all. Then we can start fear-mongering about World War III. But I can tell you one thing. Lots of people are going to die. Lots of civilians in the Middle East, yeah, they are going to die and actually really realistically have been dying. Will you die, person sitting in a North American or European country? Probably not. Like in a war, not, you know, in general. You're not immortal. But you will probably not get drafted. The logistics of a draft nowadays are just complete and utter hell. I would be absolutely, utterly shocked. I frankly don't think that they need to as well, considering where weaponry is at nowadays and how dog shit poorly a draft would go from a public perspective. Like, for real, there would be guillotines in the streets if they tried to do that nowadays. I need to stop myself because there really is just a never-ending stream of doom to scroll. I'll step away. But remember, people hate this war. People are turning on Israel. Look at this! Look at this! This is some hope core to end the video on. I'm not blind in my hope that things will work out, but we need to grasp onto at least some hope that the will of the people in the human spirit will overcome all of this. But in the meantime, have a wonderful day. Stay vigilant out there and show me my patrons.